For the third part of our lesson 4, the problem and its background, allow me to discuss the rest of the subheadings under Chapter 1, namely, statement of the problem, hypothesis, significance of the study, scope and limitation, and definition of terms. On to the statement of the problem. This is one of the most essential parts of the research because, number one, it places the problem into a particular context that defines the parameters of what is to be investigated. That means the SOP, okay, let's just call this SOP, that means the SOP actually defines what your variables are. Okay, specific variables. Also, it provides the framework for reporting results and indicates what is probably necessary to conduct the study and explains how the findings will present this information. Now, the SOP is something that we have to always check on. We have to go back and forth. In what sense? It provides the framework for reporting results. That means when you write your Chapter 4, you have to consider your statement of the problem. Another one, it indicates what is probably necessary to conduct the study, which means you have to consider your SOP in designing your methodology. And lastly, it explains how the findings will present this information. So this one is a fusion of your Chapter 4 and Chapter 5. So what is essential in the study is the SOP. How did you define your variables? And how will you actually design the entirety of the methodology? That is how we could appreciate further the importance of the statement of the problem. Moving forward, of course, in research, we are allowed to assume some things through the hypothesis, but it should not be just plain assumptions, okay? Although a hypothesis may be called as assumptions, still, you have to set your basic principles before embarking upon the experiment. So any research will be built around some assumptions, but it must be intelligent assumptions. Let me discuss the types of hypothesis. There are two. The first one is null hypothesis, depicted by HO. Okay, it reflects that there will be no observed effect of the variables in the experiment. So, when we speak of null hypothesis, it could be put as simply as there is no significant difference or there is no significant relationship, that sort of hypothesis. Another one is the alternative hypothesis, which is denoted by HA. It reflects that there will be an observed effect of the variables in the experiment. An example of this is there is a significant difference or there is a significant relationship. What does this tell us? If the null hypothesis is rejected, then we accept the alternative hypothesis. Now, if the null hypothesis is accepted, then we reject the alternative hypothesis. Next one is the significance of the study. What do you actually put in the significance of the study? This could probably be one of the simplest things to discuss. You might be working on a continuation of a previous research, so you can write that this is actually, this present study is actually a continuation or a supplement to a previous study. Okay, remember in the recommendations we also put there for further research, this could be continued as blah blah blah. So you can put that in the significance of the study. Also, looking at something that somebody has overlooked, the loophole of a previous study, or improving upon a previous study that delivered unclear results. So this one is the part where the recommendations, okay, were settled. And then this is where you, well, practically brag about the impact of your research to at least 3 entities, okay, 3 entities. Another part of chapter 1 is the scope and limitation. Now, the scope and limitation is simply a disclaimer, okay? You should present any weaknesses in the experiment from the very start so that the readers can easily judge the validity of your research. Now, this part is not a place where you tell your readers that due to financial limitations, the researchers were not able to conduct this and that. Okay, please just stop doing that, okay? While it is true that you have to claim your limitations as researchers, this one actually tackles about the limits when it comes to the variables, okay? And even to the implementation of a particular program, okay? Scope, meaning how do you define your variables. So if your variable is, say for example, academic achievement, how do you define it? So it will only entail or tackle the academic achievement in terms of the quarter 1 results of their CUA, for example. And then limitation, it will not involve other factors such as, okay? Hope that is clear with you. And of course, the last part is the definition of terms. You should provide the operational definition of the words that you used in your research. Again, operational definition and not the definition from the dictionary, okay? Not your denotation, not even connotation. It must be operational or the technical definition of words. However, please do not overdo your definition of terms. Just stick with the keywords of your research. And that ends our lesson 4, the problem and its background. Should you have any concerns, you may use our spreadsheet for the consultation periods, and you may always email me anytime, anywhere, wherever you are, okay, if you have other concerns. Thank you once more, and goodbye.